My beloved child, I see you in those quiet moments when the rest of the world is sleeping, wrestling with the silent fear that you have somehow missed your window of opportunity, and that the best years of your life have slipped through your fingers like sand. You lie awake staring at the ceiling, feeling a heaviness in your chest that whispers you are too late, that the dreams I placed inside you have expired because you did not move fast enough or perfectly enough. But I want you to know right now that my promises do not come with an expiration date, and the timeline you are stressing over is a creation of the world, not a limitation of my kingdom. I have been watching over you while you sleep, and I have been preparing you in the secret places for a destination that is far more beautiful than you can imagine. I know that lately, the anxiety feels different, less like a panic and more like a dull ache that questions your worthiness and wonders if I have forgotten the prayers you whispered years ago when your hope was fresh and bright. You see others moving forward, stepping into their seasons of harvest, and you wonder why you seem to be walking in circles, revisiting the same struggles and facing the same silent walls. Listen closely to my voice when I tell you that you are not going in circles, but you are spiraling upward, revisiting old lessons from a higher perspective, because I am ensuring you are fully whole before you arrive. The delay you feel is not a denial of your destiny, but a divine protection ensuring that when you land in your promise, you have the strength to remain there without crumbling under the weight of the blessing. There is a specific fear that grips you when you think about the future, a fear that suggests you have wasted too much time recovering, healing, or waiting, and that there is not enough time left to build the life you truly desire. I want to wash that fear away with my truth, for I am the Redeemer of time, and I can restore in a single season what the locusts have eaten over many years of hardship and confusion. You are not behind schedule because you are walking on my schedule, and my timing is never rushed, never late, and always perfectly aligned with the maturity of your soul. You feel the pressure to run because the world values speed, but I value depth, and I have been slowing you down to deepen your roots so that your fruit will remain. When you feel that tightening in your chest, worrying that you are unprepared for what lies ahead, remember that I do not call the qualified, but I qualify the called through the very journey that feels so exhausting to you right now. You have been looking at your lack of resources, your lack of connections, and your lack of energy as signs that you should give up, but I see them as the empty vessels I am about to fill. The promise I have for you is not dependent on your performance or your ability to make things happen through your own striving. It is dependent on my faithfulness and your willingness to trust me even when the road is dark. Rest in the knowledge that I am holding your future securely in my hands, and nothing that belongs to you can ever be taken away by time or circumstance. You have been carrying a heavy burden of regret, looking back at decisions you made or chances you didn't take, believing that those moments disqualified you from the promised land I spoke over your life. I need you to release that regret tonight, for I knew every mistake you would make before I ever called your name, and I factored them into the plan for your redemption and your ultimate victory. Your past is not a prison that holds you back. It is a school that has taught you resilience, empathy, and dependence on me, all of which are necessary for the territory you are about to occupy. I am not looking at your past errors. I am looking at your present heart, and I see a heart that is ready to be molded, ready to receive, and ready to walk into a new day. The weariness you feel is real, but it is also a signal that you are nearing the end of a long wilderness season, and the enemy of your soul wants you to give up just before the breakthrough becomes visible. You feel like you can't take another step, but I am breathing new strength into your weary bones, reminding you that you do not walk by your own power, but by my Spirit which lives within you. The Promised Land is not just a place of physical blessing, but a state of spiritual rest where you no longer strive for approval, but live from a place of beloved identity. Let go of the timeline you created in your head and embrace the unfolding mystery of my plan. For I am leading you to a place of milk and honey that is richer than your dreams. Have you noticed lately that your desires are changing? That things which used to satisfy you now feel shallow, and you find yourself craving order, routine, and discipline in a way you never did before. This is not a coincidence. It is a clear sign that I am preparing your internal world to handle the external responsibilities that come with your next level of blessing. You are finding that you want to budget better, clean your home, set boundaries with your time, and establish healthy habits, not because you are forced to, but because your spirit senses that guests are coming, the blessings you prayed for. This craving for structure is the evidence of spiritual maturity, proving that you are moving from a child who wants gifts to a steward who is ready to manage an estate. There is a strange heaviness that has settled over your old environments, your old hangouts, and even some of your old friendships, making you feel like you no longer fit in places where you once felt perfectly comfortable. Do not be distressed by this feeling of isolation or separation, for it is my hand gently guiding you out of the places that can no longer contain the magnitude of what I am doing in you. You are being separated not to be lonely, but to be consecrated, set apart for a specific purpose that requires a clean slate and a fresh atmosphere. The discomfort you feel in the old is simply the growing pains of a soul that has outgrown its container and is ready to be planted in wider, more fertile ground. You are finding that your peace has become your most valuable possession, and you are no longer willing to trade it for drama, for temporary excitement, or for the approval of people who do not understand your journey. This new protective instinct over your peace is a filter I have installed in your heart, helping you discern who and what can accompany you into the Promised Land. In the past, you might have tolerated chaos just to feel included, but now you recognize that chaos is a thief that steals the clarity you need to hear my voice. This shift is a profound sign of readiness, showing that you value my presence more than the noise of the world, and this prioritization is the key that unlocks the next door. You may have noticed a deep, unexplained fatigue when you engage in activities that used to entertain you, as if your soul is rejecting anything that does not have eternal value or deep meaning. This is because I am refining your appetite, weaning you off the spiritual junk food that kept you distracted, so that you can hunger for the sustenance that will actually fuel your destiny. I am clearing the clutter from your mind and your schedule, because the assignment I have for you requires focus and a sharpness of spirit that cannot exist amidst distractions. Do not mourn the loss of interest in trivial things. Celebrate it as a sign that you are aligning with a higher frequency and a greater purpose. There is a growing desire within you to serve, to give, and to be a blessing to others, even while you are still waiting for your own breakthrough to manifest fully. This shift from "what can I get" to "what can I give" is the ultimate evidence that you are ready to handle the resources of the Promised Land, for the kingdom operates on the principle of generosity. When you can praise me in the hallway, when you can help someone else build their house while yours is still in blueprints, you prove that envy has no hold on you. I am watching your heart as you celebrate others, and I am preparing to pour into you a measure that is pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You have started to feel a holy frustration with stagnation, a refusal to accept good enough, as the final standard for your life. And this drive is pushing you to seek me with a new intensity. This is not ingratitude. It is the stirring of the seed of greatness I placed inside you, pushing against the soil, demanding to break through into the light. I am using this frustration to propel you out of complacency, forcing you to stretch your faith and expand your vision beyond what is comfortable or familiar. The promised land requires giants to be slain, and this internal fire is the courage rising up within you to face those giants and claim what is yours. I am teaching you the power of silence, and you are finding that you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, defend your actions, or announce your every move to the world. You are learning the strength of Mary, who pondered things in her heart, realizing that some seeds need darkness and quiet to germinate before they can be exposed to the public eye. This discretion is a sign of royalty, a sign that you understand the sacredness of the work I am doing, and that you are protecting the intimacy of our relationship. The need for external validation is fading, replaced by a quiet confidence that if I am for you, it does not matter who is against you or who understands you. You are experiencing a heightened sensitivity to your environment, noticing that you can no longer watch certain shows, listen to certain music, or engage in gossip without feeling a physical check in your spirit. This sensitivity is the sharpening of your discernment, a gift I am polishing so that you will be able to distinguish between opportunities sent by me and distractions sent by the enemy. In your promised land, you will need to make decisions quickly and accurately, and this training in sensitivity is your boot camp for high-level spiritual leadership. Trust these checks in your spirit. They are the guidance system I have installed to keep you on the path of life and safety. Finally, you are finding that your prayers are shifting from lists of demands to quiet surrenders, from asking for things to asking for more of me, regardless of what that looks like. You are reaching a place of surrender where you trust my goodness enough to say, "Not my will, but yours be done," and actually mean it with every fiber of your being. This surrender is the final gate before the glory, the emptying of self that allows me to fill you completely with the power and wisdom needed for your new territory. You are ready, my child, not because you are perfect, but because you are yielding, and a yielded heart is the most powerful weapon in my kingdom. I know the struggle you face when you look in the mirror and feel deeply unqualified for the dreams that keep recurring in your heart, feeling as though you lack the talent, the charisma, or the background to achieve them. You compare your behind-the-scenes reality with everyone else's highlight reels, and the disparity makes you want to shrink back and hide in the shadows of safety. But I want you to understand that I choose the weak things of the world to shame the strong, and your feeling of inadequacy is actually the perfect setup for my power to be displayed. If you felt fully qualified in your own strength, you would not need me, and the glory would go to you. But this journey is about partnership with the divine. There is a persistent pressure you feel to settle for something good enough, to compromise on your dreams just to stop the aching of the weight, and to have some semblance of normalcy. You tell yourself that maybe you aimed too high, maybe you heard me wrong, and that perhaps you should just accept the mediocrity that seems so easily accessible. Do not give in to that voice of compromise, for it is the enemy trying to get you to sell your birthright for a bowl of soup, to trade your destiny for temporary comfort. I have not called you to a life of good enough. I have called you to a life of abundance, and the tension you feel is the resistance against settling. I see the shame that washes over you when well-meaning people ask, "What is new with you?" or "Have you found that job yet?" or "When are you getting married?" and you have nothing new to report. You feel like a failure in their eyes, And you dread these interactions because they highlight the stillness of your current season, while the world demands constant motion. But I want you to know that there is no shame in waiting on the Lord, and your silence is not emptiness. It is the hush of a holy gestation period. You are not stagnant. You are rooting, and the deeper the roots, the taller the tree will eventually stand, so hold your head high. You struggle with a quiet resentment toward your own pace, angry that it seems to take you 10 times longer to learn a lesson or achieve a milestone than it takes the people around you. You wonder what is wrong with you, why you have to fight so hard for ground that others seem to walk on effortlessly, and it makes you bitter toward your own story. Release that comparison, my child, for you do not know the hidden battles of others, nor do you know the weight of the glory I am preparing specifically for your unique shoulders. Your pace is set by the specific density of your calling. A cargo ship takes longer to turn and dock than a small boat because it carries so much more. There is a fear lurking in the back of your mind that even if the blessing comes, even if you reach your promised land, you will not have what it takes to sustain it, and you will lose it all. You fear that you are an imposter, that your flaws will eventually be exposed, and that the height of the blessing will only make the fall more painful in public. I am addressing this fear by building your character right now in the dark, reinforcing your structural integrity so that you can stand firm on the summit. I am not setting you up to fail. I am setting you up to reign, and the training you are enduring is the guarantee of your sustainability. You wrestle with the feeling of being invisible, unseen by those who should value you, and overlooked for opportunities that you know you could handle with excellence and grace. It hurts to be passed over, to pour your heart into work or relationships that seem to yield no return, and you wonder if I even see your labor of love. I assure you, I see everything. I catch every tear and record every act of faithfulness in my book, and I am the one who promotes, not man. Your obscurity is a hiding place where I am protecting you from premature exposure that could damage your soul before you are tough enough to handle the critics. Sometimes you feel a deep anger toward me, a frustration that I have the power to change your circumstances in an instant, but I seem to be withholding my hand for reasons you cannot understand. You feel guilty for this anger, but I want you to be honest with me. I can handle your frustration, your questions, and your doubts without loving you any less. This wrestling is part of the intimacy, deeper than polite prayers. It is the raw honesty of a relationship that is becoming real and unshakable. Bring your anger to me, pour it out at my feet, and let me trade it for a peace that surpasses all understanding and a trust that defies logic. You struggle with the fatigue of constant spiritual warfare, feeling like as soon as you overcome one hurdle, another one rises up to block your path, leaving you breathless and weary. You wonder if the battle will ever end, if there will ever be a season of ease, or if your life is destined to be one long, uphill climb. Take heart, for the intensity of the battle is an indicator of the value of the territory you are claiming. The enemy does not waste ammunition on empty targets. I am fighting alongside you, and I am teaching your hands to war and your fingers to fight so that you walk in victory, not just survival. There is a subtle temptation to numb your pain, to escape into mindless scrolling, food, or other comforts to silence the nagging voice that says you are not enough. You use these things to anesthetize the ache of the weight, but they only leave you feeling more hollow and disconnected from the source of your strength. I am calling you to put down the numbing agents and face the emotions with me, for it is in processing the pain that you find the healing. I want to heal the wound, not just bandage it, so that you can walk into your future without a limp, fully whole and free. You feel the sting of betrayal from those you trusted, people who walked away when things got hard, or who did not support you when you needed them the most. This rejection has caused you to build walls around your heart, vowing never to let anyone close enough to hurt you again. But these walls also keep out the love and help I am sending. I am asking you to forgive, not because what they did was right, but because your heart needs to be light and free to carry the blessings of the promised land. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the handcuffs linking you to the past, allowing you to walk forward into new, healthy connections. You battle with the fear of the unknown, preferring the misery of the familiar to the risk of the new, even though you know the new is where your freedom lies. The Israelites longed for the leeks and onions of Egypt because they were predictable, even though they were slaves. And you too find yourself clinging to chains because they feel safe. I am calling you to be brave, to step out of the boat onto the water where there is no safety net other than my hand. The promised land is a land of faith, and faith requires you to let go of the shore before you can discover that you can walk on water with me. You struggle with a sense of identity crisis, wondering who you are if you are not the helper, the fixer, the achiever, or the victim that you have always identified as. As I strip away these old labels, you feel naked and exposed, unsure of how to introduce yourself to the world or even to your own reflection. But this stripping is necessary to reveal the masterpiece underneath, the true son or daughter of the king that has been buried under layers of expectation and trauma. You are discovering your true name, the one I spoke over you before the foundations of the earth, and it is a name of power and beauty. There are nights when you feel utterly alone, even if you are surrounded by people, a spiritual loneliness that aches for a companion who truly understands the depth of your soul. You long for a partner, a mentor, or a friend who speaks your language, and the silence in that area of your life feels like a rejection from me. But I am your first love, and I am jealous for your heart. I am teaching you to be satisfied in me so that no human relationship becomes an idol. When you are full of me, you will be ready for the healthy, interdependent relationships that thrive in the promised land, rather than the codependent ones of the past. You worry about your financial situation, seeing the mounting bills and the limited income, and you wonder how you will ever fund the vision I have placed in your heart. You stress over every penny, living in a mindset of scarcity that says there will never be enough, which cramps your spirit and limits your ability to dream. But I own the cattle on 1,000 hills, and the provision for the vision is already stored up, waiting for the appointed time of release. I am teaching you stewardship in the little so that you can handle the much, shifting your trust from your bank account to my infinite treasury. You feel the pressure of time passing, especially when you see the gray hairs or count the birthdays, and the biological clock or the career clock seems to be ticking loudly in your ear. This creates a panic that makes you want to force doors open, to manipulate circumstances, and to make things happen in your own strength. Be still and know that I am God. I can stop the sun in the sky if I need to, and I can accelerate time to make up for the years that were stolen. Your age is not a barrier to my power. Sarah birthed a nation in her old age, and Moses began his mission at 80. I am not limited by your calendar. You struggle with the concept of rest, feeling guilty when you are not productive, believing that your worth is tied to your output, and your exhaustion is a badge of honor. You run yourself into the ground trying to earn a place that has already been given to you by grace, and this striving blocks the flow of my peace. I am commanding you to rest, to take a Sabbath not just as a rule, but as a lifestyle of trusting that the world will keep spinning while you sleep. In the promised land, you will work from a place of rest, not for a place of rest, and your yoke will be easy and your burden light. You are haunted by the what-ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm wrong? What if this is all in my head? What if God doesn't come through this time? These catastrophic thoughts loop in your mind, creating scenarios of doom that drain your energy and paralyze your faith. I want you to replace "what if" with "even if." Even if the worst happens, I am still with you, and I will still turn it for your good. My faithfulness is not a variable. It is a constant, and your anxiety cannot change the outcome of my plans for you, which are always to give you a future and a hope. Finally, you struggle with believing that you are truly loved, not for what you do, but for who you are, my precious creation, designed with care and delight. You strive to earn love, to be perfect, to be indispensable, because deep down you fear that if you stopped performing, you would be abandoned. Let my love soak into the deepest cracks of your heart today, filling the voids left by others, healing the wounds of rejection. You are loved with an everlasting love, a love that chose you at your worst and will keep you at your best. You are safe in my arms. Now, listen closely as I pull back the veil and reveal the deeper truth behind all these struggles. The promised land requires a stewardship capacity that you did not have before this season of trial began. You thought I was withholding the blessing, but I was actually building the container. For if I had poured the new wine into your old wineskin, both would have been ruined. The character, the stability, and the boundaries you have been forced to develop in the wilderness are the very tools you will need to manage the abundance that is coming. You are not being punished. You are being upgraded, your spiritual capacity expanded to hold a weight of glory that would have crushed the old version of you. The delay you have lamented over was never about my reluctance to bless you. It was about the necessary foundation work that must be done before a skyscraper can be built. You wanted the keys to the penthouse, but I was busy pouring concrete into the deep footing of the earth, ensuring that when the storms come, and they will come, your house will not fall. You cannot see the foundation when you look at a building, but it is the most important part. And this invisible season has been the most critical work of your life. I have been anchoring you in truth, in humility, and in dependence on me so that you can stand tall without swaying. You thought you were being rejected when people walked away, but I was pruning the dead branches so that the healthy ones could flourish and bear more fruit. In the promised land, you cannot carry dead weight. You need a team who can run with the vision, who are aligned with your spirit, and who will not drag you back to Egypt. I removed them to protect you, to clear the space for the covenant relationships that are ordained for your next level. Do not grieve the loss of what could not sustain you. Rejoice in the clearing that has been made for what will truly feed your soul. The silence you felt from me was not my absence. It was the teacher remaining quiet during the test so that you could apply what you have learned. I have been watching you intently, proud of every choice you made to trust, to forgive, and to keep going when you wanted to quit. This season was your final exam, proving to yourself and to the spiritual realm that your faith is not based on feelings or circumstances, but on a deep, abiding knowing of who I am. You have passed the test, my child, and you are graduating to a new level of authority and intimacy. The financial tightness was a lesson in the economy of the kingdom, teaching you that I am your source, not your job, your clients, or the economy of the world. You have learned to pray for daily bread and to trust for the manna, and this trust has broken the spirit of mammon off your life. Now, when I entrust you with resources, You will not hoard them out of fear or squander them out of ignorance. You will use them to build my kingdom and bless my people. You have been faithful with the little, and now you are ready to be ruler over much. The emotional turmoil you faced was the refining fire bringing the impurities of your heart to the surface, so they could be skimmed off and removed forever. I had to expose the pride, the fear, the jealousy, and the insecurity so that you could see them and surrender them to me for healing. You are now coming forth as pure gold, reflective and valuable, able to withstand the heat without losing your shape or your essence. This purification process was painful, yes, but it was necessary to make you a vessel of honor, fit for the Master's use. You weren't being punished for past sins. You were being trained to hold the promise without losing your connection to me, which is the greatest tragedy of all. Many have received the blessing and forgot the blesser, wandering away into a land of comfort where they no longer felt the need for my presence. I love you too much to let that happen to you, so I have burned the love of my presence so deep into your heart that success will not distract you. You will walk into the palace, but you will still kneel in the prayer closet, and that is the victory I have been seeking. The confusion you felt was actually the dismantling of your own logic and plans, forcing you to rely on my wisdom, which is far above your own. You had to come to the end of your own understanding to tap into the mind of Christ, to learn to navigate by the Spirit rather than by a map. Now you are equipped to move with the wind of the Spirit, flexible and responsive, ready for the unpredictable adventures of the Promised Land. You have traded your rigid itinerary for a divine compass, and you will never be lost again. The loneliness was a gift of solitude, a sacred space where you learn to hear your own voice and my voice without the interference of public opinion. You have discovered who you are in the dark, and that self-knowledge is a fortress that will protect you when the spotlight turns on. You are no longer a chameleon changing colors to fit in. You are a distinct, vibrant creation with a unique sound that the world needs to hear. The solitude has solidified your identity, and you will enter the new season knowing exactly who you are and whose you are. The repetition of cycles was not a failure. It was practice, allowing you to master the skills of warfare, forgiveness, and faith until they became muscle memory. You can now wield your sword in the dark. You can pray without ceasing. You can forgive instantly. These are the reflexes of a warrior. You are not a novice entering the battle. You are a seasoned veteran, battle-hardened and wise, ready to lead others to victory. The cycles are breaking now because you have learned the lesson, and you are stepping off the treadmill onto the open road. The intense sensitivity you developed is not a weakness. It is a superpower that will allow you to sense the needs of others and the moves of the enemy before they happen. You will be a healer in the Promised Land, capable of empathy that touches the deepest wounds of those around you. Your tears were the water that softened your heart, keeping it from becoming a heart of stone in a harsh world. You will lead with compassion, and your gentleness will make you great. The waiting has created a hunger in you that will never be satisfied by the things of this world, ensuring that you will always come back to the well of living water. This hunger is your safety line, keeping you tethered to me even when you are surrounded by the abundance of the land. You have tasted and seen that the Lord is good, and nothing else will ever compare. This holy dissatisfaction with the temporary is the mark of an eternal soul. You have been forged in the fire, not to be consumed but to be tempered like steel, made strong and flexible, able to bend without breaking. The Promised Land is a land of giants, yes, but you are now a giant slayer, equipped with the very stones you picked up in the Valley of Weeping. Every tear you cried has watered a seed of joy that is about to bloom. The sorrow may have lasted for the night, but I promise you, joy is coming in the morning. Understand that the promised land is not just a destination. It is a lifestyle of walking in covenant with me, where my power flows through you to change the world. You are the vessel, and the preparation was to ensure there are no cracks where the oil could leak out. You are now a sealed vessel, holy and dedicated, ready to be poured out for the refreshment of many. The time of filling is approaching, and the glory of the latter house shall be greater than the former. The enemy tried to break you, to make you bitter and cynical, but I have used his attacks to make you bold and compassionate. You have turned the enemy's weapons against him, using your pain as a pulpit to preach hope to the hopeless. This is the ultimate revenge against darkness, to shine so brightly that others can find their way home. You are a lighthouse built in the storm, and your light will never go out. So now the revelation is clear. You are ready. Not because you feel ready, but because I say you are ready. The work is done, the foundation is laid, and the season of hiddenness is coming to an end. Lift up your eyes, for your redemption draws nigh. My final encouragement to you is simple. Pack light for this next leg of the journey, for you cannot carry the baggage of the past into the new season. I ask you to identify one draining habit, whether it is worry, complaining, or mindless distraction, and release it into my hands today. I also ask you to release one relationship pattern that has kept you small, whether it is people-pleasing or seeking validation, and choose to walk in your God-given authority. Travel light, for the ascent is steep, but the view from the top is worth every step. I want you to prepare the house of your life, to do one small daily discipline that proves to your spirit that you believe the promise is coming. Maybe it is clearing a space in your closet, setting an extra place at the table, or simply waking up 15 minutes early to sit with me. These small acts of faith are prophetic declarations that say, "I am ready, Lord, send the rain." Show me your faith by your works, however small, and watch how I respond to your expectation. Walk like you are being led, with a quiet confidence that does not need to force outcomes or manipulate people to get your way. When you know you are being guided by the shepherd, you do not need to panic when the path turns or the fog rolls in. You simply keep your eyes on the shepherd. Walk with your head held high, not in pride, but in the dignity of a child of the King who knows their inheritance is secure. Your confidence will attract the resources and the people you need without you having to chase them. Do not be afraid to be happy again, to let your guard down and allow joy to bubble up from the depths of your spirit. The season of mourning is over, and I am putting a new song in your mouth, a hymn of praise to your God. Smile at the future, laugh at the days to come, for your Father has prepared a feast for you in the presence of your enemies. Joy is your strength, so wear it like a garment and let it shine on your face. Remember to be gentle with yourself as you transition, for change is exhausting even when it is good change. Give yourself grace to make mistakes, to rest, and to adjust to the new altitude without pressure to be perfect instantly. I am patient with you, so be patient with yourself. We are walking this path together, hand in hand. You are doing better than you think you are, and I am so incredibly proud of you. Keep your eyes on the horizon, but do not forget to appreciate the beauty of the landscape right where you are today. The promised land is not just a future date. It is available to you now in the Spirit, accessible through gratitude and worship. Enter into my gates with thanksgiving, and you will find that you are already walking on holy ground. The kingdom of God is within you. Unlock it with your praise. Surround yourself with voices of faith, with people who speak life and hope, and distance yourself from the cynics and the doubters. Your environment matters, so cultivate a garden of hope in your home, in your car, and in your mind. Listen to words that build you up, read truths that set you free, and sing songs that elevate your spirit. You are the gatekeeper of your soul. Guard it with all diligence. Trust the timing of your life, knowing that I make everything beautiful in its time, and your time is coming. The flower does not bloom all year round, but when it does, it is glorious. Your blooming season is inevitable. Do not envy the evergreen. Cherish your own unique season and the fruit it brings. You are exactly where you need to be to get to where you are going. As we walk this path together, I invite you to keep your heart open to these whispers of hope, perhaps by choosing to stay connected to this gathering of souls, so that my words can find you again when you need them most. It is not a demand, but a gentle invitation to surround yourself with reminders of my love, creating a sanctuary where your spirit is fed and your courage is renewed day by day. Let this community be a place of rest for you, a digital shelter where you are always reminded that you are never walking alone. Never forget that I love you with a love that is deeper than the oceans and higher than the stars, a love that will never leave you nor forsake you. You are my masterpiece, my delight, and the apple of my eye. Go forth in peace, go forth in power, and go forth in the certainty that your promised land is waiting for you. Receive my peace now. Let it wash over you from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, calming every nerve and silencing every fear. Sleep well tonight, my child, for I am watching over you, and tomorrow is a new day full of new mercies. You are ready. You are loved. You are mine. Amen.